Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are San Diego.
We welcome you to Petco Park, where Hunter Renfroe's getting ready to take on the Royals against lefties this year, hitting at .333, 5 homers and 12 RBIs, and back in the lineup. First baseman Eric Hosmer on the other side for the Kansas City Royals. Loves facing the Padres. 409 with a home run and 9 runs batted in. It is game one of a 3-game series as we welcome you inside the broadcast booth. Everybody, Don Orsillo along with Mark Sweeney. Welcome to Padres baseball. Well, tonight the Padres are taking on the Kansas City Royals in interleague play. Of course, they were world champions back in 2015, but they're having much different results this year.
Wow, what an incredible ride it was for that 2015 team. Also, when you win a World Series, that fan base has higher expectations. You see the record, they did everything right and celebrated. Well, was it a World Series hangover? Well, you could probably say that when you have a 500 record after our World Series championship, but these younger players continued to play well. But this year, you see it. Everything has gone wrong. You see the ERA, very difficult to handle, but the offense has been abysmal when it comes down to it. They have to play better. Their expectations are there, but also on the road, it has been a struggle. So this is the third game in interleague play. It's going to be interesting to see how the Royals handle.
Well, the Padres have struggled lately, and it has been their starting pitching that has been the real problem, not going deep into games.
Well, that's a struggle. In 162 games, you are going to go through these phases offensively, pitching-wise. You're going to go through those slumps that you have to rear its head. This is going to be a situation where Jhoulys Chacín tonight has to step up, be that guy, because as a starting pitcher, you're the one that gives your team an opportunity to win a ball game.
And, of course, the numbers for Jhoulys Chacín, very good at home, so they're hoping he continues that. Next 2 starts will be right here at Petco Park. We come back. Coming up, we'll look into the start for Jose Peralta back in the big leagues with the Padres. Great start since his call-up. Michelle Margot will check it out when we come back next on Fox Sports San Diego. Padres baseball, brought to you by Petco, your complete pet store with all the services you need. By Jack in the Box, come try the new sweet or spicy barbecue bacon cheeseburger and chicken sandwich, limited time only. And by the all-new 2017 Subaru Impreza. Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive plus 28 miles per gallon. More than a car, it's a Subaru. Padres and Royals, but before we get it started, let's send it down to the field and Michelle Margot.
Thanks so much. Well, Jose Perella has provided quite the offensive spark since being called up on Tuesday. 5 hits in 3 games, but he's also provided some defensive versatility. Here's Andy Green on how nice his contributions have been.
When I called down to talk to Rod Barajas, and I talked to him again yesterday, those guys have raved about the way he swung the bat this year. And when I watched the video, you could see him in a different position with his body than he was last year. He looks more confident in the box. And it's been a welcome addition for us because it's no secret we've struggled to put runs on the board. And so anybody that's going to come up and take good at-bat after good at-bat is going to get opportunity. And he's done that since he's been here. And he's back out there today in the leadoff spot.
Jose Perella has certainly been a positive addition to this Padres roster. And speaking of the roster, a move was made today. The Padres have sent down Ryan Schimpf to AAA El Paso and have recalled right-hander Jose Valdez, who will throw out of the pen. When we come back, Jhoulys Chacin is on the hill for the Padres against Eric Skoglund and the Kansas City Royals. First pitch in Game 1 of the series. Coming up next.
Well, Jhoulys Chacin will be on the mound tonight for the Padres as we check out our weather report, brought to you by your always sunny San Diego Honda dealers. 69 degrees to get it started. Northwest breeze at 11 miles per hour. And the forecast partly cloudy for the remainder of the night. Nothing but blue skies above, though, as we get it started tonight in San Diego. Don Orsillo, Mark Sweeney, and Michelle Margot with you for the first of 3 between the Padres and the Kansas City Royals. As the Royals here for the first of 3, and Ned Yost has a lineup that looks like this. Whit Merrifield will be at second base and lead it off with Jorge Bonifacio in right field, Lorenzo Cain in center. Eric Hosmer is at first base with Salvador Perez doing the catching. Mike Moustakas at third base. Alcides Escobar at shortstop. Alex Gordon batting all the way down in the 8th spot right now for Kansas City. And Eric Skoglund doing the pitching tonight for the Royals.
The Padres Scouting Report brought to you by San Diego Boat Show. And for Jhoulys Chacín tonight, watch for the velocity, because I think when he has the velocity of his fastball with 92, 93, that slider is much better. The aggressive slider is the key. That's his out pitch, and he's got to throw it with conviction, as manager Andy Green talks about.
Well, defensively behind him, the Padres defensively, brought to you by your San Diego Ford dealers. Jose Perella in left with Alan Cordoba in center, Hunter Renfroe in right field. Third to first is Corey Spangenberg at third. Eric Ibar, 1 error in 46 games at shortstop. Yangervis Solarte at second base. Will Myers at first. And Austin Hedges doing the catching for Jhoulys Chacín. Well, it is a different looking Royals team, at least with the results. A lot of the same names are part of this team. The world champion 2015 Kansas City Royals. It's just the results are not the same.
Yeah, and offensively, they've gone through their struggles, and I think that bodes very well for Jhoulys Chacín tonight.
Whit Merrifield leading it off here for Ned Yost, whose team comes in with a record of 26-33. Even with the start they've had, Mark, they're only 5.5 games back of the Minnesota Twins in the AL Central.
Yeah, and that might be troublesome for the Royals. Why I say that is that they have a lot of free agents that are appealing to other clubs. And if you stay in that division, it's hard to tell a fan base like the Kansas City Royals, I'm going to get rid of some of these guys.
There's a fly ball headed out towards center field. Cordoba makes his way back just shy of the track to haul it in for out number 1 of the ball game. Let's take a look at the keys to the game, brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
Well, after a struggle in the desert, they needed some home cooking. They needed to be home. I think Jhoulys Chacín knows of the importance of this game and his outing, but also just going out there and performing. Give your team an opportunity to win. It's been troublesome, especially in Arizona.
Now 1 down here in the top of the first inning, and here is Jorge Bonifacio, right fielder for the Royals, who will take ball 1. The Royals on the road coming into this ball game are 9-17, and so far 1-1 against the National League. So interleague for them here tonight. Bonifacio 3 for his last 16 at the plate. Let's say pop up into shallow right. Myers into foul ground, going as far as he can, and
wow.
Myers makes the catch. No, into the crowd, just out of his reach. Looked like he had it lined up over there.
Well, this was a very difficult play because he had so many different flash looks, has to deal with the fan, and just misses that ball. See him peeking, but that was probably his 34th look at that shorter fence. Still a good effort by Will Myers.
So it gives Bonifacio another chance here. It's knowing your home ballpark too. Myers getting over there and having a chance to make that play, and just out of his reach. That ball comes up just above your knee.
Yeah, that's not a good feeling too. It just knocks your legs out. It's always on your mind as you're getting closer.
Popped up foul, out of play. Outfield deep in straight away here on Bonifacio. Does have 8 home runs out of the 2 spot in the order for Kansas City. And a swing and a miss goes chasing, and Chacín on the breaking ball picks up his first K of the night.
What a slider, because the depth of the slider starts on that corner and works its way off of the plate. That's going to be the key tonight, especially against the right-handers.
So 2 down here in the first inning, and brings up Lorenzo Cain. Wraps it foul in behind the dugout.
Well, you're not going to see a two-strike approach from Lorenzo Cain. It's going to be very aggressive. And this is one of those players, Don, that I talked about that a lot of people in baseball would love to acquire.
Hitting third in the lineup for the Royals. For his last 19 at the plate. The last time we saw Lorenzo Cain here at Petco Park, he was 4 for 8 with a double in 2 games in Kansas City last year in 2014.
Well, he has power. Also, he can slash the ball all over the field and has the speed. So all elements offensively, there's a lot to like.
Chassin started, then stopped, and now ready. Jolice last time out at home, going 6 innings, giving up 4 runs, 3 earned, in a loss against Colorado. And losing for the first time here at Petco Park, where he'd had so much success. Went into that outing last time with a 0.67 earned run average at home.
Well, the home is where he feels good. That has something to do with the mound, possibly has a lot to do with the chemistry he has with Austin Hedges. Back-to-back sliders by Chassin. Behind in the count, and the confidence that he has with his backstop. Something to watch tonight.
Payoff pitch here for Chassin. And it's grounded foul. So we'll do it again here, 3-2. 7 career starts, 9 appearances overall at Petco Park for Chassin. 4-2 record with a 2.06 earned run average. And doing some pretty good inventory on that bat was Lorenzo Cain to make sure he didn't fracture.
Yeah, well, usually it's right around those hands, so you want to see if that is.
8th pitch of the at bat, and Cain strikes out Chassin with back-to-back Ks in the first inning. A 1-2-3 inning. Padres are coming up as Chassin strikes out Lorenzo Cain to end the top of the first. Coming up in the Padres lineup, brought to you by your San Diego County Toyota dealers. Randy Green, it's Jose Perella leading it off in left field with Yangervis Solarte at second base. Will Myers at first with Hunter Renfroe in right. Austin Hedges doing the catching with Alan Cordoba in center field. Boris Spangenberg at third base with Eric Ibar at shortstop. And Jolice Chassin does the pitching and bats ninth. On the mound is Eric Skoglund, who gets the start.
6'7", 210 pounds. He was a 3rd-round pick in the 2014 draft out of the University of Central Florida. His control over velocity. He does have velocity, but would like to adjust his sights down in the strike zone, according to his last start, but also the first road start in the big leagues. Nerves come into play.
Defensively behind him, it is the Gold Glove left fielder Alex Gordon in left. Lorenzo Cain in center, Jorge Bonifacio in right. Mike Moustakas at third, Alcides Escobar at short, with Whit Merrifield at second base, Eric Hosmer at first, and Salvador Perez doing the catching. 20 errors this year. It's the fewest in Major League Baseball. They play pretty good defense.
Known for their defense, obviously, in their World Series run in 2015. They had pitching to back that up as well.
So Jose Perella leading it off here from the right side. And Skogland's first pitch is going to spin him out of the box. Pretty lanky, throws a lot of knees and elbows at you, it appears.
And that's what's going to be a struggle for the Padres, to pick up that release point when there's a lot of body parts coming at you.
Strike on the outside corner.
And I think you're going to see the Padres with that approach that they want to see a strike first, being able to see and get some information in their first at bats.
Line to right. Bonifacio moving over, and he'll catch it on a hop, knocking it down. And Perella's aboard to start the night.
Well, Perella continues to pound the baseball. You see the, looks like a slider cutter that's elevated. But obviously you can see head right down on that baseball. This is perfect opportunity, and then the slashing ability of Perella to be able to drive the ball. We've seen him go the opposite way. He continues to drive the baseball in right field. Bonifacio does not look comfortable out there.
So lead runner on here for the Padres in the bottom of the first inning. Brings up Yangervis Solarte.
You can't blame Andy Green for putting Perella at the top of the lineup. The way he's swinging the bat, it is extended from El Paso up to the big leagues.
Solarte now with 5 home runs, 29 runs batted in. A little bit low, and it's 2-0. If you can get to him early, that certainly would change his psyche quite a bit here, this young left-hander.
Yeah, making your first road start. Obviously, the nerves were already set in motion with the 2 home starts.
Check on Perella, back to the bag, just crossing over to get back. The lead was not terribly large. Third major league start for Skoglund. Solarte sends it towards short. Escobar will go to second for 1, on to first for 2. Double play. That'll help Skoglund quite a bit. Able to induce that double play. 6-4 to 3. Our Ram Trucks tools of the trade focuses on
Skoglund's repertoire, and you'll take a look at the young left-hander. The 2-seam fastball we've already seen, and you want to try to elevate that. Then the slider comes into play. Left-handers with a lot of body parts coming at you with that slider in the low 3/4 action. The 4-seam fastball to try to throw strikes, you can see has that length, but also lowers his sights for the Padres to take advantage of.
Will Myers lines this one foul into the seats.
What I mean about that is that drop and drive lowers that release point. It's not that downward plane that gives a lot of hitters problems. So if that's flat, it'll be a little easier for the Padres to adjust to.
Will with a couple of hits yesterday. And the defeat to the Diamondbacks, who swept the Padres in the 3-game series. And a liner to left field. Gordon will play it on a hop, and Will Myers picking up where he left off yesterday with a base hit in his first at bat tonight.
Well, Will Myers, you can see, starting to slow it down. Watch this. The balance straight down through there. That's good because he's controlling his head. And also the barrel follows. Picture perfect swing by Will Myers. That's a good sign for the Padre offense.
Third round pick by these Kansas City Royals was Will Myers. And he's at first base with 2 down. Hunter Renfroe take a breaking ball down and in. Renfroe in the cleanup spot. Good series against the Diamondbacks. One of the few Padres who really had a good series.
Yeah, this is a good matchup for him. Why I say that is he can start slowing the game down a little bit. Get him in the strike zone.
On the ground, deep, short, and under the glove of Escobar into left field. Myers will take second, and Renfroe's got himself a base hit. Third hit of the inning for the Padres. The double play was big, though.
You can see with the breaking ball, the contact point is a little bit out front of that front leg. Hunter Renfroe continues that hot streak. Good start for the Padres.
2 on, 2 down. Austin Hedges the batter. .211, but 11 home runs and 28 runs batted in. Two of the better catchers in baseball here, with Hedges in the same shot as Salvador Perez and behind the dish for the Kansas City Royals. In fact, they both have 11 home runs to lead the major leagues in home runs for catchers. Foul tip and held on to. Perez grabs it that time.
Well, if you're watching this game tonight, you're going to watch both of these catchers, how they receive pitches, what they're calling for games, and then watch the sequencing. They never give those hitters the same look every time.
Two on, 2 down here in the Padres' first inning. Hedges rips this foul.
The thing is with Salvador Perez, Don, you're going to see a huge target. That's a benefit to the for the pitchers, because they're looking in there. They have confidence with him, but also he sets up and it's very calm behind there. That's a benefit.
This one fouled to the screen. I love watching him catch.
It's unbelievable because obviously you talk about Yadier Molina and Salvador Perez. Those are the guys that you think about in both leagues that are very good at their craft. Austin Hedges wants to get to that point. I think he has the opportunity to be just as good, if not better.
And Perez, pretty big guy too. Good sized target back there for the pitching staff. 1-2. He is on the ground towards shortstop and by. Escobar coming from second base is Myers. He will score, and the Padres strike first on top 1-0. Fourth hit of the inning for the Padres, and they grab their first run.
Now the Padres have been victimized by 2-out RBIs. Well, this is a good sign on the opposite way. Good pitch by Skoglund and a better swing by Austin Hedges. Slapping it past Escobar for a big run for the Padres, especially after that double play.
First and third, 2 down, and it brings up Alan Cordoba, 6th member of the Padres to bat here in this first inning. .281 average coming in. 3 homers, 9 runs batted in for Cordoba. Skoglund coming in with a record of 1-1 in his first 2 starts. 4.32 earned run average. Renfroe at third, Hedges cross the diamond at first. A run already in. Bounces in, nicely picked by Perez. the ground foul outside of third will even the count at 2-2.
Watching Alan Cordoba, he likes that ball elevated. That's when he's been at his best.
Check on Hedges. The lead was not large. Got back without a problem.
He really hasn't seen a very good move. And why I say that is if you don't see a good move, that gives you that opportunity to go on first movement.
Look at the 20th pitch of this first inning coming up for Skoglund. Another throw over again. Drops in there for strike 3. Cordoba didn't think so. And that strikeout ends the inning. But Austin Hedges able to get a base hit into center field. It drives in Will Myers and the first run of the game. Padres take a 1-0 lead.
Kansas City. Long run, Jones. He dives and he didn't get it. Taken throw by Salvador Perez. Escobar dives to his feet. Merrifield with the dive. Oh, what a play!
The Royals are here for the first of 3 in this interleague matchup. Padres and Kansas City Royals for the first time since 2014. And Eric Hosmer standing in. Hosmer, always fun to watch. This year hitting up over 300 and batting in the cleanup spot. 5 homers and 21 runs batted in for Kansas City.
Don, this is the matchup that I'm looking forward to. Reason why I say that, Hosmer 0 for 10 in the last 2 games, but this, as you said, is a very talented first baseman. And being the left-handed guy, and especially the slider that Chacín would like to get to. That down and in is what you have to worry about.
This part of our player profile brought to you by Arco. Top tier player profile, Eric Hosmer. Most hits by a first baseman since 2013, second only to Miguel Cabrera. That's pretty good.
Really puts things in perspective how close he is to Miguel Cabrera, and also Paul Goldschmidt, Adrian Gonzalez. Like a lot of Eric Hosmer, and why he doesn't get a lot of credit is because he doesn't power the ball as a typical first baseman, but he has power in his swing.
Hosmer, 27 years of age. And he'll take ball 4. So that's not what Chacin wanted to do. Leadoff walk here in the second inning. First base runner of the night for Kansas City. And it'll bring up Salvador Perez. .268, 11 homers, 32 runs batted in for Perez. Playing in his 56th game of the year. A possible 60 for Kansas City.
Well, not known for his blazing speed, he has grounded into 9 double plays.
So he would be a candidate.
He's a candidate. As were a lot of us.
4-time Gold Glove Award winner. 4-time All-Star. Jam there. Fouled it back off his thumbs. Resting his sore thumb and did not play in last night's game. But in the Houston series did go 6 for 12 before missing the finale of the series. Interesting how he holds the bat there with some of his hand off the knob.
Yeah, that's probably why that thumb issue really comes into play. Probably trying to relax the hands a little bit. There he is, trying to relax the hands and try to take the tension out of your swing. You have a thumb problem. See the Padres trying to pound him in. See if he goes to slider away here.
And it's a fastball down, and it's 1-2. Was here last year for the All-Star game. Homered at Petco during the 2016 All-Star game. Now hits one on the ground to short. Could be 2. Ibar to second for 1, on to first. It is 2. There you go. He called it, Swing Dog. Double play. 2 down.
Now watch the movement on this pitch. This is what induces the ground ball. Austin Hedges set up on the outside part of the plate. 92 on the outside edge. Started off the plate. And with Eric Ibar's hands, an easy turn in the middle of the diamond.
So look at the shift go of the Padres on the right side of the infield. With Corey Spangenberg going over there for Mike Moustakas. And some of the boost calls going up here from some of the Royals fans who have traveled to San Diego.
Can you blame them?
No.
If I saw the Padres on the schedule, I'm going to start getting my trip ready.
Absolutely. Today couldn't have been any better. Picture perfect here in San Diego.
Well, the June gloom, how'd that work out for you?
June 9th was pretty good. On the ground down the first baseline. That is a fair ball, I think. No, wow. Fair at first. And a called foul. I'm just talking it over with Dana DeMuth, the home plate umpire, whose call it is until it gets up over the bag at first. And he said it was a foul ball.
See, Will Myers trying to get to that before it goes foul. You can see just kicking on that foul line and going just fair foul.
Over the last 12 games, Moustakas coming around, hitting at .370. It's down in the order. And hits one high and deep to right center field. Renfroe coming over, so is Cordoba, and it'll be Renfroe out there to make the catch. A little communication as it's 1-0 Padres.
one, kind of fortify the bullpen. It's definitely been taxed. Now the move with him for that had probably more to do with like getting him going again. Like that's what we're hoping he gets out of this. Just like there's more in him offensively than what we've been getting this year, and we want to try to figure out a way to get that. And there's two choices you have: like you continue to run him out there. We're 2+ months into the season, or you send him down to the minor leagues and let him get going again.
Well, that was manager Andy Green on the optioning of Ryan Schimpf to AAA. He said he believes in him, that he just wants him to go down, get at bats, get hot, come back, and be able to do damage on a consistent basis, guys.
All right, Michelle, thanks very much. And it is not every day that the leader of the club in home runs is sent to AAA at this stage of the year.
Not your typical sense of that, but I think taking a step back.
A little pop up on a bunt bid behind the mound, and reaching is going to be Spangenberg. Pop up over the tall pitcher. Yeah, this was well placed. I'm not so sure this is what he had intended when he went to bunt, but it worked.
So I think he wanted to take this with him towards second base. So that's the benefit. Once it gets over the pitcher, it's no man's land. See Moustakas trying to make that play. He doesn't have a chance with the speed of Spangenberg. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
He'll take it. Lead runner on here in the second inning. We're back to Ryan Schimpf again, though, heading down to AAA.
Now you think about that, and like I said, taking a step back might be a benefit to Ryan Schimpf. The need and want to be better at this big league level.
Guessing and guessing wrong is Spangenberg, as they will get him. Going over was Skoglund, and he had already taken off. So 1 to 3 to 4 on the putout.
Going on first movement. Skoglund going over there, and a nice throw by Hosmer.
One to 3 to 4 on the caught stealing. And it brings up Eric Ibar. This sent one out towards left center field. This is struck pretty well back towards the wall, and it's off the wall. Lorenzo Cain plays the carom, but into second base goes Ibar with a stand-up double. That really highlights the caught stealing of Spangenberg. Sending it out to left field off the wall.
Well, the veteran shortstop, you watch this pitch, looked like it was off the plate just a little bit, down, and still powering the baseball to left center. Off the base of the wall.
So first time through here for Andy Green's team. 6 hits here against Eric Skoglund. They have 1 run to show for it so far. Ibar at second base, and it brings up Jolise Chassin. And to right field for Chassin. That's a base hit headed down to the right field corner. Ibar is coming around from second base. He will score. Chassin to second. He'll get there standing with an RBI double that gives the Padres a 2-0 lead. Well, Chassin's been good at the plate. 6 for 20 in the year at 300. And he drives in a run himself here to help himself out.
Drove his 3rd run in with this swing, and this is picture perfect. You see that head down right on the baseball. Chassin can handle that wand. Picks up another RBI and supports himself. Take your time.
Chassin at second base with 1 out, a run in. And the top of the order, second time through now, Jose Perella, single to right field in the first inning. So 9 guys bat, 7 of them with hits off Skoglund so far in this game. So far, he has not been a mystery.
No, he's not. And I like the aggressiveness from the Padres. And be careful with Perella. You're playing straight up in the outfield.
Perella with a base hit to right field in the first inning. He's erased as Solarte grounded into the 6-4-3 double play. Framed there by Perez, but called the ball 2-0.
I tell you what, Don, I wasn't in the locker room, obviously, in the meetings today, but I guarantee Andy Green sent the message, let's be aggressive. Seeing that style today, that even the aggressiveness on the base pass, push the action.
3-0. Very patient Perella this time.
Now, the way he's swinging the bat, I'd set him loose.
Green light here. Chacin at second. Takes a strike. 3-1.
Why I set him loose, because you have a rookie pitcher on the mound. He wants to throw a strike. Practically your hottest hitter up at the plate right now.
He was hot in El Paso, hitting at 321 at the time of his call up, and he's continued it. As he'll walk this time. First walk allowed by Skoglund. So 2 on with 1 away, a run in. And Yangervis Solarte coming up at first. Dave Island going to make a trip to the mound. Pitching coach for the Royals. Batting average against left-handed pitchers. The Padres at 203 coming into this game, but tonight 7 for 9 in that category.
Now it's time for a breakout night. Why not?
Chacin at second, Perella at first. Solarte the batter. And he will take ball 1. 93 on the missed fastball for Skoglund. There is action in the Kansas City pen. Alexander up in the pen first, a left-hander, and he is rapid fire right now, getting it and throwing it. Outside again. He walked Perella, fell behind him 3-0, and he follows behind Solarte now. 3-0.
Why Alexander's getting loose and quickly is because you look at the body language and you wonder if the nerves are setting in for the young left-hander.
Solarte taken all the way, and he'll take ball 4. Back-to-back walks allowed by Skoglund. Bases now loaded, and Yost gets the word that he is ready, and here comes Ned Yost. So that's going to do it. Skoglund coming out of this game. They have a run in the first, so far a run here in the second, but a lot of hits and back-to-back walks. 2-0 Padres. with the Kansas City Royals. That's the night for Skoglund as he departs here after just an inning and a third, responsible for all the men on. And as he departs, the bases are now loaded for the Padres. Now time for AARP's Getting to Know Will Myers. And of course, he was originally drafted by the Kansas City Royals, converted from a catcher to an outfielder in the Royals minor league system back in 2011.
Pretty interesting thought, because Will Myers, I asked him today, who was influential over there? He said, well, you know what, when I was a catcher, Ned Yost. He was our catching instructor and helped him out a lot. Now he's an outfielder and a first baseman with the Padres.
Ned Yost making a pitching change, and it's brought to you by El Cajon Ford as into the game is Scott Alexander.
Well, he induces the ground ball. How he does it with the fastball slider combination. On the glove side, it's more of a cut. On the arm side, it's that sinking action.
Royals into the pen here in the second inning after just an inning and a third. Chacin at third, Perella at second, Solarte at first. One out in the inning, and a chance here for Will Myers to do some damage. Padres already on top, 2-0. Swinging a foul. That one getting a piece of Perez on the way by.
Oh, I love the aggressiveness by Will Myers. Swing the bat very well, especially the last 2 days. One grand slam in his career. Be nice to have two.
Swinging at that first pitch first time up. Swung at the first pitch in his second at bat, and he's had a single to left in the first inning. Now hits one softly foul.
See the velocity on the fastball, 94, and it still has sink.
How hard is this from a hitter's standpoint? You get ready for your starting pitcher, you spend a lot of time on that. Now all of a sudden you got a reliever in the game so early.
And especially with interleague play, you're relying solely on a scouting report, a piece of paper.
In the dirt, gets away, not far enough. Anybody to try it, throw to third, and out at third base is Chacin. Could not get back to the bag. Salvador Perez showing off that arm. Just picked off the Padres pitcher at third.
Well, this is just awareness. Watch Salvador Perez. He makes a peek over, and Moustakas right on the bag. Applies the tag to Chacin. You got to credit Perez for that awareness.
Still 2 on here for Myers. Now 2 down in the inning. And Will down 1-2. Myers strikes out as he chases that pitch away. Another run for the Padres, who take a 2-0 lead through 2.
Thursday, the world's greatest players battle to be crowned America's champion in golf's can't-miss major of the year. The 117th U.S. Open begins Thursday on Fox and FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Can't wait. Watch the rough. I heard it's growing.
It looks like it's growing.
Oh my God.
Well, we head here to the top half of the third inning. 2-0 lead. Inning changed quickly there for the Padres. Looked like a very promising inning. They end up with 2 runs. And a 2-0 lead is Escobar with swing and a miss for strike 1.
Well, we've seen some aggressiveness on the base pass, but also mistakes.
This lead could be larger for the Padres. We're out hitting the Royals here 7-0 as the pitch outside to Escobar. Alex Gordon and the pitcher spot scheduled to bat here in the inning. Grounder back to Chassin, nicely picking it, and a toss to first for the first out of the third inning.
Well, the two-seamer is moving tonight on that outside edge. Weak contact and fielding your position. Chassin has been sitting at right around 92, got up to 93 miles an hour. It has that command on that glove side.
One down here for Alex Gordon. Grounder foul outside first. Chris Young is up in the pen, the former Padre. And Brandon Moss has come out on deck to bat. In the spot of the pitchers, a pop up into shallow left. It is Ibar for out number 2 of the third inning.
MLB.com At Bat is your #1 mobile app for live baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get Padres home screen icons and app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com At Bat today.
A little switch up here as it had been. Brandon Moss waiting on deck. With 2 quick outs, Alexander, the pitcher, back out there to bat for himself. So Ned Yost going to try to get some more innings out of him. First major league at bat for Alexander. Scott Alexander coming into the game last inning and getting 2 big outs. Came in a bases loaded 1-out situation. Got some help from Salvador Perez. They picked off Padres runner at third base in Chassin.
Well, when you're making your first major league at bat and you are a pitcher, all eyes are on the first at bat, especially in your dugout. You're going to have a good time with it. In the American League, obviously they don't hit, but in the interleague play, you're going to have to do it. All eyes on them.
Swing and a miss, and Chassin strikes him out. That's 3 Ks for Chassin. 2.5 done, 2-0 Padres.
2-0. And tomorrow, it's a great day for baseball on FS1 and Fox. It all starts with the Royals battling the Padres at 1 p.m. on FS1. Then on Fox, the Orioles take on the Yankees at 4 on your local Fox station, or you can watch it live on FS Go.
And tomorrow, looking forward to doing the game with the great Eric Karros, who joins us here. Good to see you, EK.
Good to see you.
How's it
Looking
going?
for it. It's going well. It's going well. Getting to working with my man Sween too.
MLB whip around.
LA,
That's a lot of
fun. Yeah, it's good stuff.
I noticed you guys had a good time at whip around up there. I mean,
We do. It's a great crew to be able to be around. Obviously, coming down from LA today. How was the traffic coming
Not
down?
bad, not bad. You know, I played a little golf this morning, made it halfway down, and then you know, drove the rest
What
of the
a
way.
life.
But I love coming to San Diego. This is where I grew up. Heck, I was rooting for the Padres back in the Enzo Hernandez, Randy Jones, Dave Winfield days. And in fact, they were wearing I think they had the brown unis then too.
What do you think of the brown? Would you like to bring it back?
I like it. Look at it. We had the bright yellow way back when too, the yellow pant, everything. So I'm all for it. I'm for the nostalgia.
Renfroe skies one to right field as Bonifacio out there backpedaling. Will handle out number 1. What do you make of the Kansas City Royals start? I mean, this team is pretty good, at least on paper, coming in, and now all of a sudden it's not been great results.
No, you know, look at the Royals are an interesting ball club because I think a lot of teams are looking at them thinking, hey, we're gonna pick them apart come trade deadline. But they're still in this Central. Nobody is running away at all with this thing, and you know, look at a lot can happen in the next month and a half or so, and they have the core group of guys, position players that won a World Series, so they can still be competitive. And again, nobody's really taken charge of that Central yet.
Eric, so many times you hear from the Royals, and yes, they're only 5.5 back, but there's a lot of free agents that they can't really afford to keep them all. How do you deal with that as a player?
Well, you know what's interesting too, you mentioned that with the new collective bargaining agreement, you don't get compensation like you once did when your free agent signs with another ball club, so it makes it even tougher. You know, are you going to let these guys walk at the end of the year? I don't know. And look, as a player, these guys are just going out and playing. I think that, you know, that I talked to Mike Moustakas, third baseman for the Royals, and look at his name's going to get brought up. And, you know, he gave me the cliche answer, but it's the only thing you can do. Just go out and play, and if something happens, something happens.
Swing and a miss here for Scott Alexander, able to strike out Hedges for the second out of the inning.
This is looking good. We're going to get about 2 questions in. I'm not even sure I'm going to get to finish my cookie. You know, I came up here. I mean, Swing Dog took care of me here with the cookies. I'm not going to eat them.
The backstory is he loves his sweets. That's the reason why you got to go there.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was about, because it
fresh
was
baked cookies.
A long time before the game. It was all set up here. It's been sitting here ever since.
Wait till tomorrow. Wait till tomorrow, huh?
Not to see it myself. It's a grounder towards shortstop, and Escobar to first base. Hey, we're looking forward to it tomorrow. I'm looking forward to working with you.
Hey, can't wait for it. Good to see you.
Take care.
Swing Dog, thanks, buddy.
Good to see you, buddy.
2-0 Padres. the Royals. We head to the top of the 4th inning, and tonight's Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light, and has to do with Jhoulys Chacín and his slider. Strikeout percentage on the slider, 88.5%. That's the best. Chris Archer, Carlos Martinez, Patrick Corbin, Dan Straley all on the list. But Chacín, number 1 in that category.
And he could really spin the baseball, and with those top 3 especially. Chris Archer is known for his slider. And Carlos Martinez, the St. Louis Cardinals, he's the ace of that staff.
We'll play along here to the top of the 4th inning. Tony Gwynn Jr. alongside now. We are leading the league in analysts. We just went from Eric Karros, and now we have Tony Gwynn Jr. just rotating him in and out.
Hey, and Tony, as you know,
Ibar on the run. Nice pick by Myers, 1 down.
So being around Eric Karros, he loves his sweets. And I've done some research on you too. You're lucky I don't have a big ice cream in front of you.
Yeah, I like my sweets. As a matter of fact, I just had some sweets before I came in here. A little chocolate ice cream with a little brownie in the middle. It's quite tasty.
Well, that's one thing I know about you. There's a place here, too, somewhere in the ballpark you go to on a regular basis, too.
Yeah, that Build-A-Barrel down there.
Right out near the set.
It's right in front of the set.
Did you have influence on that? Tell me the truth.
I didn't have influence, but I tell you what, when I showed up and saw it there, it was like, it's like being in the heaven. I mean, whoever thought of making a snickerdoodle with ice cream in the middle?
Oh,
it's nice.
Tremendous.
Fantastic.
1 down here in the inning. Jorge Bonifacio standing in. Jhoulys Chacín, how do you explain the success he has had here at home, but cannot translate to the road for whatever reason?
You know what? I think at this point it's got to be something mental. You know, San Diego, it's not like it used to be where this was an obvious pitcher's park. You come here, you knew you could get the ball in the air and it would take something extraordinary to go out. It's not like that anymore, but yet Chacín still pitches so well here compared to on the road.
Line to short, and Ibar with a step and a grab there at shortstop. Nicely done by the veteran shortstop. 2 down.
Nice play there by Ibar. I mean, this is one of the few balls hit hard today off of Chacín, and the ball's kind of hooking back to Ibar. He's able to glove it, and you know he's always been a really good shortstop over there as long as I've seen him play. You know, when that ball's coming back to you, it's not an easy play to make. He made the adjustment.
A couple of good stabs over there at shortstop for him, and a nice pitching performance again for him yesterday as he appeared in a game. You never want to have your position players in a game, but well, he's done well twice now. That's pretty good.
He induced the double play too. A lot of guys have fun with that after the fact. You see Eric Ibar.
He took about 3 warm-up tosses and was good to go.
This was his first opportunity, and then the second one came in yesterday. You see that, and inducing that double play to end the game. You don't want your shortstop throwing too many times from the mound.
Right.
It was free and easy, though, I would say.
He had some good movement on the baseball.
Lorenzo Cain to short. Ibar's been busy. He'll have a part in all 3 outs, and a nice pick on the other side by Myers. Eric Ibar putting on a defensive clinic at shortstop. It's a 1-2-3 4th inning thanks to Eric Ibar. 2-0 Padres. Padres baseball brought to you by your San Diego County Lexus dealers, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. By Sycuan Casino, play, win together in the heart of San Diego. And by your San Diego Honda dealers. Visit us at sdhondadealers.com. It's been a nice night so far for the Padres. 2-0 San Diego on top. And as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning, bottom third of the Padres order, Spangenberg, Ibar, and Chacin scheduled to face. Scott Alexander, who has been out there since the 2nd inning, took over with 1 out in the 2nd. Able to get 2 quick outs, getting out of the bases loaded 1-out situation, then at a 1-2-3 third. So they're sticking with a hot hand, and he will skip that one in there to even the count at 1-1.
Tony, wanted to ask you, and you think of getting ready for Eric Skoglund, and he comes out in the 2nd inning. What's your plan if you're hitting? You're in that Padre dugout.
You're talking about when Alexander comes in?
Yeah, when Alexander comes in.
Well, you know, they're both lefties. In my mind, I would pretty much have the same game plan. You know, having not faced either of these 2 guys, as a left-handed hitter, I always wanted to see the ball deep off of lefties because it's so easy to get to that rollover position that I wanted to see up the middle the other way and kind of play it off of that.
Spangenberg going up the middle here into right center field, his 2nd hit.
Obviously, with the left-hander in there, you could always have the opportunity to bunt. As you see Spangenberg punch this ball right up the middle, which is a good game plan for him. You see him catch that ball just right off his front leg and drives through it.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to get that ball deeper, and he still ends up pulling it, but it's pulling it correctly and easily getting through the center of the diamond. Now you got speed on the base pass.
Man, if you can execute that bunt he had the first one, if you could perfect that.
I said better be lucky than good, right?
I'm not sure I've ever seen a bunt that goes over the pitcher and behind the mound.
Hey, you can master that. Listen, got a nice spin. Listen, the U.S. Open's coming next week, as we already said. That's sat nicely.
That backspin on the green.
Oh, beautiful. Putting for birdie.
Eric Ibar batting for the 2nd time, doubled in the 2nd inning, came around to score the 2nd Padres run. In his career against the Royals, it's a team he's enjoyed facing. 327, couple home runs, 27 runs batted in, and of course his entire career prior to this year spent in the American League.
Eric Ibar's always been one of those guys that I'm positive opposing pitchers just don't want to deal with, because he's always going to put together a professional at bat. He's going to foul pitches off. He's going to annoy the opposing pitcher and make him throw more pitches than he wants to.
And I think a lot of it is value when it comes to a roster. So many free swingers in the game now, and when you have a guy that can handle the bat, even though I think Eric Ibar would say that it's not the typical year that he would have. He hasn't got going yet, but with those career numbers, maybe this series gets him going.
His playing time has been diminished some lately with the arrival of Chase Darno, playing some at shortstop, and once he's been in, though, he's been hitting very well, and defensively we just saw him last inning, tremendous.
Well, Chase Darno gives you a different element with energy and enthusiasm, but also Eric Ibar gives you the experience. To your point, Tony, I think just knowing that you're going to get a solid at bat, switch hitter that balances out your lineup just a little bit.
You know, with so many young guys too on this roster, that's where that value really shows up, because these guys can kind of take notes and really see how to, you know, extend at bats. You know, you see him go from 1-2 now, he's up to 3-2, and these are just more pitches that wear on that pitcher. He's got to keep making pitches. And, you know, a lot of times when you're making a pitcher do that, eventually they make a mistake, and that's when you have to capitalize on it.
Ibar with a swing and a miss on the 3-2 pitch. He strikes out. That's the 3rd strikeout for Scott Alexander since coming into this game.
Let's have cutting action on the pitch to this glove side. Was underneath the barrel of the bat.
So Spangenberg still at first base, one down. Jolice Chassin, who doubled and collected his 7th hit of the year. Now 7 for 21 at the plate. He's already squaring. And he'll drop it down. It is the pitcher, Alexander, who gets to it first, and the sacrifice complete as Spangenberg takes second base.
Very well executed bunt there by Chassin. Not only can he swing it, he can handle the little things that pitchers are supposed to be able to do. Gets the bunt down to the right area, advances the runner. And now he gives the hot-hitting Perella a chance to drive in a run.
And I really like that Chassin chose to bunt it towards the pitcher. Sacrifice situations, especially those relievers. A lot of them don't want to throw to the bases.
Yeah.
So 2 down here in the 4th inning. Spangenberg in scoring position now for Jose Perella. He's been on twice, a single and a walk so far in the night. My thoughts on Perella since he's come up? He's looked pretty good.
He's looked really good. I really like his approach at the plate. Stays up the middle, but he's swinging the bat with some authority. You know, he hasn't, hit any home runs yet, but that bat's coming through the zone well.
He's hitting so well, and he got into a 3-0 count last time, and I thought he was going to even give him the green light. You always try to search for that guy that's hot. But again, he showed his patience. Last year, he swung the bat a lot. Free swinger. He's in better shape, and he looks more confident.
He does.
I think the Padres did a great thing too by bringing him up when he was hot. See a lot of guys sometimes not going their best at AAA, and they come up and kind of in a bad place at AAA. But if you're going good at AAA and you get elevated at the same time, it seems like it can carry over. It has.
Well, Andy said something interesting today in a pregame and said he relies on Rod Barajas, the AAA manager at El Paso, in his conversations. Who's hot? To your point, Don. That's what they want to do. They want constant communication.
And of course, Rod Barajas, the manager of the champion El Paso Chihuahuas a year ago in the PCL.
That's important, I would assume, for all organizations, for that dialect between the big league manager, the AAA manager, to be able to have that conversation, so you know what you're getting into when a guy comes up, or when a guy's going down, for that matter.
Yeah, and why we say that is that typically that doesn't happen in all organizations.
Right.
Sometimes they rely on their scouting department on who's coming up next.
And you've seen in this at bat right here with Perella, he's kind of getting the two-seam fastball that's running away from him, and he's kind of pulling off of it a little bit. Not necessarily pulling off, but just he's not staying through the baseball, as we've seen him do so pretty much every at bat so far. But that can happen when you get a left-hander on the mound with this kind of movement. He's also featured the cutter.
Perella takes it, and it's strike 3. So 4 strikeouts for Alexander, 2-0 Padres. To see where these balls are going to end up. This one's going to end up on top of the batter's eye in Pittsburgh. PNC Park, and right up there is where that one landed. Unbelievable.
Well, usually the cameraman that's at top of the batter's eye is usually safe. He got a souvenir tonight.
I mean, when you see McCutcheon take 2 steps and stop, that gives you an indication how far that ball went, probably over that batter's eye and with some space behind it.
Here is Eric Hosmer to lead it off in the 5th inning for Kansas City. He'll take strike 1.
That was number 16 for Giancarlo Stanton.
It's some kind of fun to watch at a baseball.
There's a ground to right side, and quickly by Solarte. Kind of a top spin ground ball that took off by him into right. And it's the first hit of the night for the Kansas City Royals. It comes to lead off the 5th inning.
Well, Eric Hosmer loves pulling the ball, and you could see the effort by Yangervis Solarte.
That's something that you always see from Solarte. He's always a max effort guy, and I think that's why San Diego's appreciate him as a player and what he does.
Second time the lead runner has been on in this game for Kansas City. Hosmer also got on in the 2nd inning when he walked. It was quickly erased when Salvador Perez grounded into the 6-4-3 double play. In the air to deep left field for Salvador Perez, and this ball is gone. And this game is tied 2-2. A single and a home run, and just like that, it is 2-2.
Well, that was knowledge of his first at bat. He did ground into that double play, but the Padres tried to pound him in. With that thumb injury, they wanted to try to not get his arms extended. Well, that contact points out that front foot. Really nice swing by Perez.
I love the way his backside and his hands connected, and you see the kind of force that's behind the baseball in that swing right there. I mean, even in the first at bat, you don't hear too many ground balls that sound like that. I mean, he squared that ball up.
Bunt bid, and it is fouled off.
Watch how that backside and his hands come working together. That is a connected swing from the ground up. And that's when you start generating that kind of juice right there.
Well, that happened quickly.
I think that gives him the lead in home runs for catchers now.
Yeah, that's the disappointing factor.
He and Austin Hedges were tied to begin the day with 11 each, and now Salvador Perez with his 12th has tied this game 2-2. Moustakas has been picking it up at the plate. Down 0-2. And a foul off to the left out of play.
How about the highlights that Salvador Perez is rocking with that dude?
Not a lot of guys can pull that off.
I know we can't.
Well, I don't have any hair, so I definitely can't.
I know.
That's
done.
I don't think I can frost what little I have.
Happy haircut, by the way.
Yes, my goodness. I really hope that it comes back. That's always the fear every time I get my hair cut.
Well, you know we're not going to do it, Tony.
Yeah, exactly.
No
That's what I say. I used to hope it was going to come back too. I just gave up. Just started shaving it.
Well, it's still kind of there. Some.
Yeah, it's there. Be proud of that.
Absolutely.
I would. I'm not a hair guy.
I'm thinking back to when I was younger. I don't think I ever seen you with hair.
No, it was always thin.
No, it was.
And you know what's funny? They say it skips generations. I said this before the game. My dad is bald. It does not skip generations.
It's sitting in the Sweeney family.
No.
I know my dad held on to his hair a lot longer than I did mine, so I guess it doesn't skip.
Yeah, but you can rock a bald head. There's other people in this booth that can't.
On the ground right side. Spangenberg will throw to first base, and Moustakas is retired. One down here in the 5th. And it'll bring up Alcides Escobar. Chassin trying to settle down after a quick single and a quick 2-run home run. It was up there as the Padres now in the midst of a 2-2 ball game. Escobar 0 for 1, grounded back to the mound first time up.
You know, this Royals ball club is underachieving this year, and you wonder as we get closer to the break, where's their mindset as a ball club? We talked about it at the opening of our show.
Are they buyers or sellers?
I think personally in the Central, it's still everybody's close. I mean, 5.5 out. I think the Royals are coming into the day, and there isn't anybody running away with this division. I think the Twins are in first place.
Yeah, and I look at it, Tony, too, and Ned Yost has already set the tone on what his expectations is to this roster. I look at their starting rotation and also losing Wade Davis. That changes the mindset of a club, and you're wondering if they have the resources to go out there and either go get pitching or you end up trying to fortify your minor leagues with some trades.
And you know you got 3 big free agents coming up from your ball club. You got that weighs into that decision as well.
Alex Gordon batting here with 2 down in the inning. The Padres in a shift on the right side. Brandon Moss, who had been on deck earlier but then pulled back, is now back out there. A pinch hit for Scott Alexander. In the dirt to the backstop. Chassin had not allowed a hit through the first 4 innings, but gave up the leadoff base hit to Hosmer. And a 2-run shot by Perez, but he gets Moustakas and Escobar back to back.
Now this is still a dangerous situation because Alex Gordon only has a home run on the year.
He'll take the walk this time with 2 down. Second walk allowed by Chassin. Visit to the mound here by Austin Hedges. And Brandon Moss coming up here, the veteran.
Well, a lot of power in this bat, so you got to be careful, especially that first pitch. Guys off the bench are looking to seek that heater.
33-year-old Brandon Moss.
Mark, tell me, you know, as a pinch hitter, I always found it a little bit different coming in to pinch hit against a starter who's been in the game as opposed to facing a reliever.
Well, the benefit, Tony, is you got to watch him, and typically you're on the bench or even have the ability to go inside the locker room in seeing guys and how they're working, but also being able to see the umpire's strike zone. I think it has a lot to do with the knowledge you take into the batter's box.
Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did, says Paul Nauert, third base umpire.
Now that was a slider that he needed because it comes out of the hands, a fastball look. I always hear about depth with a slider. Watch this where it ends up.
Moss with a swing and a miss, and Chassin strikes him out to end the inning. But a 2-run shot for Salvador Perez has tied this game 2-2.
over there. I think they have a first-class organization. I appreciate everything they ever did for me. They have a great staff, great coaching staff. I still stay in touch with a lot of the coaches there, and I think they did a lot for me in my career and helping me get where I am.
That was Wil Myers on the Royals, who drafted him back in 2009 in the 3rd round. He said draft day was really fun for him. He got to spend it with his family. It's something he's excited for all the prospects to experience this coming Monday. Guys, what are your memories from draft day?
Well, my memories were I was with my mom and dad, and that was a good sign to know that I even had a chance to get drafted, and proud moment for all of us to handle. How about you, T?
Yeah, I was with my mom and dad as well at the house. And it was interesting. I got a phone call from my Uncle Chris, who was with the Padres at the time. And it was a 2nd round, and he called and said, hey, we're taking you if you're there. And they were picking, I think, 4th. 2 picks before them, Milwaukee took me. And part of me was disappointed, but there was another part of me that was excited about it. Going to an organization that I knew nothing about, and I knew I'd have a chance to go through the minor leagues if I handled my part of the job.
Home of the Dairyland. Did you like some cheese after that?
I love Milwaukee. I did. It's a really, really cool place.
I'm sitting next to 2 Brewers.
Yeah.
2 former Brewers.
Well, I got Davey Lopes fired the way I played at Milwaukee. I'll tell you that. I say it to him all the time. One of my favorite people in baseball. You know that,
yes.
T. One of the greatest guys in baseball. Still with the Washington Nationals as the first base coach. His managing stint had me on the roster and didn't really perform well.
I don't think anybody did that year for you guys.
No, the roster was it struggled a little bit.
Was that 01?
It was.
Yeah, well, that was my first year. I remember going there at the end of spring training when they opened Miller Park. It was the first year in Miller Park. Right?
Yeah, first year in Miller Park. But Davey had an opportunity to be the manager, and I was happy that he had that opportunity too. But it wasn't the roster that's going to make you feel comfortable as a manager.
Up and in, and nowhere to go for Solarte. Where to get him?
Looked like I got him right there on the shoulder. Oh, pointing to his forearm, actually.
Oh, a little bit of both. Harvis on to begin things here in the 5th inning. Hit by the pitch. That's Strom, the new pitcher here for the Royals. It's the first batter that he faces coming out of the pen.
Padres looking to do something with this leadoff runner here. Good opportunity with Wil Myers coming to the plate.
Who has singled and struck out. Look at the numbers for Strom, 20th appearance.
Well, you see that low 3/4 delivery. That tells me that you want to center the ball in the middle of the plate because it's a lot of movement. It's like his problem is corralling all of his stuff. Can pitch up to 97 miles an hour, but sits right around 92.
I mean, the fact that he's all the way on the 3rd base side of the road lets you know that he probably has trouble commanding the ball to his arm side.
Myers ahead here, 3-0.
He is pushing it as far as he can go over to that side, to that 3rd base side of the road.
Yeah, you're right, because when they're on the 1st base side, you know they have that fastball slider combination.
Myers had the green light, but he fouls it off.
That is pitch too. What you're hunting is that fastball, middle away. It's been the issue. It's actually right down the middle. The issue with Wil Myers has been foul balls, and that usually happens.
Ball 4, and he'll take the walk down to 1st base. On for the 2nd time in the game. We're talking about the draft coming up, and our podcast team here, with the exception of myself, have all been drafted. You got Mark Grant, who goes 10th overall, as I mentioned. That Scott was fired almost immediately after that. Sweeney in the 9th round. Bob Scanlon, the 25th. Tony went in the 2nd round with the Brewers, as you mentioned. Mike Pomeranz going to the Minnesota Twins.
How about the left-hander down the bottom, spinning that breaking ball?
How far in that organization how high did he get? Do you know?
Well, he's probably going to say he only got to like mid-A, but he's really humble when it comes down to his stuff. And he doesn't like talking about his playing career.
He doesn't. I've tried to egg him on to get him to talk about it.
You think about so many people that would love to give anything to play, even minor league baseball.
I mean, I talk about my playing career all the time, and I never played. I mean, what I would have done if I had played.
Taking BP.
I always said
shagging flies.
Exactly. I always said that if I had a manager who stuck with me deep into May, that I would hit 260 in the big leagues.
Deep into May.
Yeah. I love your stance, too. I know a lot of the fans haven't seen it, but Dwight Evans. He's really a Dwight Evans lookalike.
Yep. Pigeon-toed. It's not pretty. It really is.
And you got to work with Dwight Evans, too.
I did.
How was that?
It was awesome. It was awesome to work with him. One of the funny things was I was in my Dwight Evans stance, and I was getting ready to hit at Pawtucket's AAA All-Star game. There's a ground ball towards third base. Moustakis to second for 1, on to first for 2. So around the horn they go for the double play as Solarte takes third base. So I'm in my stance.
Yeah. Let me see that.
In my normal stance. It's very comfortable. The only problem I have is when the balls that come in towards my kitchen not completely clean up.
Can't get out
right in
So
there.
I'm like this, and this is where I have problems. I can't get around my kitchen. But anything out here,
so you like to get hands extended right out.
Extended, fully extended like that.
Yeah, it's usually not a good thing on the ball end and the ball's actually hitting your hands.
Right.
What did Dewey think about your stance?
He said, you got it all wrong. I said, what? And I turn around, it's Dwight Evans. He knows his own stance.
Oh, my God.
That is too funny.
I had too much weight on the back foot. Probably too much weight, period. But
no.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my stance.
I can't wait to say. We should set up batting practice.
No, I don't want to do that because Mud wants to hit me in the ribs.
Well, he can't throw because he will hit you in the ribs.
No, he wants to. He's already said that.
I just have this visual of you in this stance in Pawtucket right now.
Oh, boy. So 2 down, Solarte at third base. And a swing and a miss here for Austin Hedges. I mentioned he was tied with Salvador Perez in home runs. Now Salvador Perez with a 2-run shot has tied this game with his 12th home run of the year and moved ahead in that category among Major League Baseball's catchers. Up and away, 2-2.
I pegged you handling the ball in.
No,
I really thought that you could
clean it out.
Yeah.
No, I struggle now with anything in. Swing and a miss, and Hedges strikes out. Strom gets out of the jam. 2-2 ball game through 5. play of the game, and Eric Ibar, plays of the game, making some great plays at shortstop tonight, putting on a defensive clinic for the Padres. Well, Ibar and the Padres in the midst of a 2-2 ball game as we head here to the 6th inning. And leading it off, top of the order, Whit Merrifield will lead it off for Kansas City. He is flied out to center and grounded out to shortstop.
You know, Don, you said you always said that what you would do if a manager stayed with you till May.
Right.
Thought you could hit a strong 260.
260 in the big league.
It made me think of one of my former teammates, Jerry Harrison Jr. So I always say, I was the same player as Jeter. He just got better pitches.
He got better pitches. He had better protection in the lineup.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if you guys listening out there have a chance, please look up Don Arcillo and his batting practice on YouTube. Fantastic.
Popped up first base way. Myers is there, and he makes the catch. Merrifield retired, first out of the 6th inning. I was hitting in a hitting group between David Ortiz and Shane Victorino, and I don't know why it was so funny. I don't know what everybody found so funny.
The khakis to start off.
That's it, the boat shoes.
Yeah, I don't think the boat shoes, the khakis, are going to be the proper uni when you're trying to take
terrible traction in the batter's box. It was awful.
But you were serious, though.
Can I get those guys to maybe put you in uni? Give you some nice, maybe turfs?
Khakis, boat shoes, and a polo.
It was not pretty. One down here in the 6th inning, Jorge Bonifacio.
Well, slider at the top of the zone. Got a call there. So Nissan by Fox Tracks. Hey, that's what you need to try to get, especially ahead, because it sets up that slider away.
To first, and Myers will take it himself to the bag for out number 2.
Weak contact. And that's what you have to do, especially when you get hitters on the defense.
And he's sinking that ball, running it on the outside part of the plate, running it back over the corner to the righties. Like this one right here. After he's thrown that slider at the top of the zone, it's a much more difficult pitch to handle. You're already very aware of the slider that's running off of the plate away from you as a righty. To get the first pitch slider that's up in your eyes kind of surprises you a little bit, and then you go back with that backdoor sinker. Makes it difficult.
Lorenzo Cain 0 for 2 has struck out, grounded out. This is definitely one of the guys that if they are in a sell mode that people would be coming after in a big way.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to play, not with Lorenzo. He was coming up in the minor leagues when I was in Milwaukee, and he's always been very, very good at putting barrel to ball, and his defensive prowess out there has been really good.
That is strikeout number 5 for Chassin. 5.5 done, tied 2-2. sixth inning. The Padres and Royals meeting up here in game one of a 3-game interleague series. It's been a well-pitched one here for the Padres so far from Jhoulys Chacín's standpoint. The Royals get into their pen in the second inning. And Chacín has thrown 83 pitches through the first 6 innings. Here's a bunt bid by Cordoba, fouled off over by the Padres dugout.
Yeah, good time right now for the Padres offense to give him that run support.
Yeah, I think they have to really start locking in on the strike zone here. We saw him kind of expand the strike zone last inning when they had an opportunity to get a run in. And, you know, I think that's been an issue for the Padres all season long. As the game goes along, it's almost like they lose focus of the strike zone and they start expanding it. And the at-bats seem to kind of dwindle a little bit down the stretch.
Is there anything you can do to that to improve?
I think for a lot of these guys, it's just playing in the big leagues, getting more reps. Because it's easy to lock in the first 1, 2, 3 innings, but as the game goes along, that mental stamina has to kind of kick in order for you to continue that game plan that you started out the game with.
2-2 is fouled off to the right, out of play. Pitch 25 coming up here for Strom, who came into the game last inning and back out there for another inning. Second reliever used by Ned Yost so far. A liner foul into the seats.
Watch out.
Strike 3 call, and Cordoba strikes out. Second strikeout for Strom.
Well, be at Petco Park tomorrow when the Padres take on the Royals for a rare Saturday afternoon game at 1:10. All fans in attendance receive a Padres replica jersey presented by Fox Sports San Diego. With sizes for the whole family, get your tickets at Padres.com. And they are sweet.
They are pretty sweet.
Hedgie.
Got the road unis and
I want a Hedgie uni. Solarte.
Solarte here. Pretty nice.
I didn't get a uni.
No uni? Sorry about it.
I mean, I work for Fox Sports San Diego. I can't get a uni.
You should check with somebody then if you know some people there.
They have all sizes. I don't think they have my size.
Don't feel bad. Don didn't get a uni in that hitting clinic he put
that's
on.
true. That's true.
He got his boat shoes though.
Who's doing that promo?
One down here in the 6th. And Spangenberg, who is 2 for 2 in the game, had a bunt single in the second inning, single to center field in the 4th inning.
You know, as a left-hander facing another left-hander, when he's on that third base side of the rubber, I always felt like you got such a good look at the baseball.
I almost feel like you want to be a left-handed hitter because of that.
Right.
And I'll say a lot of this too. If you're not a power left-handed hitter, you simplified it. I think it locks you in even for moving forward with at-bats.
That is strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Strom. He's looking good. That's 3 Ks actually in a row now. As he got the final out of Hedges striking out against Cordoba and Spangenberg. There is action in the Padres pen. Brad Hand is up in the pen.
How terrific has Hand been all season long?
Ibar sounds like a broken bat. Grounds it foul.
That sounded like it hurt a little bit. Whew. I'm like touching the webbing of my hands right now. I could just feel it.
It's usually what happens in spring training. You always get jammed in that thumb ligament. Hurts for the rest of the season.
Sounds painful.
Yes,
well, the
it
swing's
does.
painful, and then the injury is painful. We've been there.
See, those are things I probably am not taking into account when I said I could hit 260.
Yeah, to say the least.
258.
The grounder foul. Time now for our San Diego fans of the game. Having a good time tonight. Petco Park Game 1, the 3-game series.
I think that young man sitting that close should have that glove on his hand.
Yes, ready to go. No 2, and that is outside.
I love about Eric Ibar, you see him when he gets 2 strikes, he tracks that ball all the way into the catcher's mitt. And to your point, Tony, just being able to see it longer, being able to foul off those pitchers' pitches and get yourself another opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's really the only way to handle 2-strike hitting. I mean, you have to be. It's a defensive count right there. I mean, 2-2 as you get, 3-2, 2-2. It's a little bit more, but even then, you still have 2 strikes. You can't afford to go chasing or looking.
Fly ball headed out to right field, and Bonifacio coming in. He'll make the catch. It's a 1-2-3 6th inning. To the 7th we go, tied 2-2. He is on the ground towards shortstop and by. The Padres strike first on top 1-0. And to right field for Chassin. That's a base hit headed down to the right field corner. Ibar is coming around from second. It gives the Padres a 2-0 lead. In the air to deep left field for Salvador Perez. And this ball is gone. And this game is tied. And that was our Harris game summary as the Padres and Royals are tied 2-2. To the 7th inning we go. And it'll be Eric Hosmer leading it off against Jhoulys Chassin back out there with 83 pitches. 53 for strikes so far. Hosmer, Perez, and Moustakas. 4, 5, and 6. Pretty good 4, 5, and 6 coming up here for Kansas City.
Yeah, he's got to handle the big part of this, and especially late in his start. Been economical at this point. This was the matchup that I wanted to look at because of Hosmer coming in 0 for 10 his last two games coming into tonight.
And tonight has walked and singled, so he's been on twice and both times leading off innings. After walking in the second, was erased in a double play. After he singled in the 5th, Perez followed it up with that 2-run home run we saw. Falling behind 3-0.
Now the crew chief Dana DeMuth behind the plate has been very consistent tonight with the strike zone on both sides.
Strike call. Hosmer is ready to head on down to first base, but he gets the bad news from Dana DeMuth.
He will still throw that slider, even 3-1.
Full count now. In the air to left field, struck pretty well. Pirela going back onto the track to make the catch for out number 1 of the 7th inning. Hosmer taking it the other way with authority, but he's out number 1. The slider has been working well for Chacin again tonight.
And he set that pitch up particularly well tonight, and getting into strikeout counts. So he goes to that slider. A lot of swing and miss, as you can see, and even from the left-handed side. See Kane getting him twice tonight.
And Salvador Perez had a long home run his last time up. Home run number 12 of the year, which tied this game 2-2. Padres are 8-2. The starting pitcher goes 6 1/3 or more. And right now Chacin sitting at 6 1/3 in his outing. In the air to center field, playable for Cordoba out there. 2 down here in the 7th.
This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Count the description for this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
6 in a row retired by Chacin. 2 down here in the 7th, and Mike Moustakas coming up. He is flying to right and grounded out to third base. 0 for 2. Did he go? No. He checked third base umpire Paul Nauert. Moustakas with 15 home runs. And he grounds this hard and foul outside of first.
Has a really good feel for that slider, especially late in this outing. Giving these Kansas City Royals fits because they start guessing.
Look at the pitch count by inning for Chacin.
Very economical, other than the 21 pitches in the 5th.
Walked 2 and struck out 5 through 6 2/3 innings. On the ground with the shift on, and that'll get into left field as Moustakas takes it the other way and is aboard with 2 down in the inning.
Well, you think about it, Don, and one of the matchups that you wanted to look at was Eric Hosmer tonight. Very successful in his first couple of bats, but then you see that Chacin gets behind 3-0. Then he goes to work. See the fastball, he gets a call on that. Then the slider on the outside part. This is the pitch of the at-bat. The 2-seam fastball that's down in the strike zone and a fly ball to left. And Chacin, even getting behind 3-0, comes back and gets a very good hitter.
Alcides Escobar off balance with that cut for strike 1. And strike 2. Looks like he was looking for something else there. He gets the fastball, and it's 0-2.
And usually he is swinging from the get-go. Very aggressive style from Escobar.
Short lead at first base for Moustakas, held on by Myers. And he goes chasing again after that slider, down and away. 6 strikeouts for Chacin. With a runner at first and 2 down, able to strike out Escobar. 7th inning stretch, tied 2-2.
Become a better version of yourself, really. Essentially, everybody's building for the future, no matter if you're the best or, you know, at the bottom. But yeah, I mean, honestly, no one cares about what anybody thinks or expectations. I mean, even if you're world champs, you don't care what the media or whoever says about you.
They're easy on the media.
Yeah.
Well, that was a look at tonight's brand new episode of Padres POV presented by Nissan. And before Ryan Schimpf got optioned to AAA, Mark Grant had a chance to sit down with him for some Southern comfort food. And also in tonight's episode is a brand new segment of Between Two Bases with Ryan Buchter featuring Hunter Renfroe, and we test the knowledge of Mets fans. So you guys want to check it out after Padres Live, the postgame show tonight, guys.
All right, Michelle, thanks very much. We look forward to that tonight. As Matt Caesar pinch hitting here to lead it off in the bottom of the 7th inning in the pitcher spot here, batting for Chacin. So that is the night for Jolice. Tremendous 101 pitches, 7-inning effort.
We said in our open that we need to get a pitching performance, and the veteran right-hander definitely gave that tonight.
Matches his season high of 7 innings pitched. 2 runs, walked 2, struck out 6. 8th time a Padres starter has gone 7 innings. Here's a drive to deep left field off the bat of Caesar. High, deep, and very gone. Padres take a 3-2 lead in the bottom of the 7th inning thanks to Matt Caesar, who takes it yard.
What a swing by Matt Caesar, elevated and taking off. That had the sound off the bat. And backing up Jolice Chacin, pinch hitting for him, but also the effort. Padres on top.
Gotta feel good for Caesar. He's been doing a lot of pinch hitting. Coming off the bench just like that, and comes in cold here and hits it out of the yard. Meeting at the mound as Perez goes out there.
Well, nice going, Jolice. And Matt Caesar backing him up.
Padres looking to obtain some insurance now with nobody out here in the 7th inning. This is the 3rd inning of relief right now for Strom in this game.
You go back to Eric Skoglund, and not being able to pitch deep in this ball game has really put a lot of pressure on Ned Yost.
Well, they're into the bullpen in the 2nd inning. That is ball 4, and Pirela has walked for the 2nd time tonight. So a home run and a walk starts this bottom of the 7th inning for San Diego. It's the 2nd walk Strom has given up since coming into the game. Moylan warming in the pen. Looking on, looks like he's ready. Pitching coach Dave Island is going out.
Well, good for Matt Caesar, because you have to, when you're a bench player, be able to feel like you're putting your piece in. And that was a big home run and a good feeling to know your worth on a club. Not taking anything away from him, but he has been grinding out at bats for that opportunity right there. He's got to feel good for his new teammates.
4th pinch hit home run this season has given the Padres a 3-2 advantage. And Yangervis Solarte coming up. One of the questions I have is how the Padres are going to finish this game from a bullpen standpoint. They had a very rough outing yesterday for Brandon Maurer, and he had to use a lot of bullets in yesterday's game.
Well, we've seen Andy Green too hand him the ball the next day, and sometimes that's probably the best thing to do.
Not so much a rough outing in my estimation, but the number of pitches he had to throw yesterday would be one of the.
It's so true.
Is he available?
I think it's probably going to be that scenario where you rely on Brad Hand and you piece it together.
Two 2-0.
That's the good thing, Don. And you go back 2 road trips ago, and when Brad Hand had his first save this year and then gets his 2nd on the same trip, Andy Green knows he has a few guys to go to when needed.
Back-to-back days against the Mets. Now it's 3-0, and all of a sudden Strom, after giving up the home run, is out of sorts here after 2 very good innings. Taken all the way, and taking a strike is Solarte. Then on base twice without the benefit of a hit. Grounded into the double play in the 1st, walked in the 2nd, hit by a pitch in the 5th.
Not a bad time to set Pirela in motion here.
And that's ball 4, and it's back-to-back walks allowed by Strom. 3 in all in his outing. And here comes his manager, Ned Yost, headed out. He will make the change here. Padres have taken a 3-2 lead, threatening for more. Bottom of the 7th inning with nobody out. The day after the Padres score 5 or more runs, get 50% off any regular menu price online order at papajohns.com. All you got to do is enter promo code Padres5. Well, a good start here to the inning. The home run, back-to-back walks, and Peter Moylan in the game now for the Royals.
Enter the right-hander, the sidearm right-hander gives you a different look. Sinker and slider in his repertoire, throws a lot of strikes and works the bottom part of the strike zone. Inherited runners, 20 of them, 4 have scored on the year.
Back-to-back walks to Barella and Solarte, setting the table for Will Myers. Will has singled and scored, struck out, and walked in this game. Padres 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position so far on the night. Takes strike 1. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. Well, at second, Solarte at first, nobody out in the inning. Myers strikes out looking. Takes with him the first strikeout for Moylan. That's the 9th strikeout for Royals pitching.
Fastball, slider, and he gets him with the two-seamer on the outside part of the plate, coming right back and sticking it on the outside part.
One out in the inning. Hunter Renfroe, the batter, and a swing and a miss. You can see where he'd be tough on right-handers.
Yeah, and that especially working from the third base side of the rubber.
.226 batting average for right-handed hitters against Moylan. He's not been tagged for a loss in 126 outings. Swing and a miss, and Renfroe strikes out, and a healthy diet of pitches running away. Back-to-back Ks for Moylan, impressively getting Myers and Renfroe.
And on 6 pitches, the middle of the order, and pinpoint control.
So 2 down brings up Austin Hedges. A single in the first, struck out in the third, and again in the 5th. Strom, who had started this inning, responsible for the 2 men on. And on the hook right now, allowing that leadoff home run, a pinch hit home run for Matt Caesar. Swing and a miss, more stuff away.
Yeah, you could see predominantly just working that outside part of the plate. RBI situations. It's like the Padres are going to have to try to commit to that opposite field. Give him that inside corner.
Swing and a miss. Hedges goes around. Unable to lay off that pitch.
Well, you wonder why, too, and it has a lot to do with the deception of the delivery. Side armor not normally seeing that release point. It has sped up the Padre hitters.
Hedges chases it again and strikes out. Moreland ends up striking out the side. But Matt Caesar with a pinch hit home run has given the Padres a 3-2 lead as we head to the 8th.
Matt Caesar solo shot in the bottom of the 7th. It's going to be Brad Hand coming in the ball game now. Should be a lot of fun to watch from this point forward.
Yeah, Brad has been using so many different roles out of this bullpen, whether it be the 7th, 8th. He's closed a few times, and he's the most reliable reliever the Padres have, and all-star caliber type pitcher right now.
Yeah, he's got 6 outs to get, does this team, to hold on to this Game 1 win over the Royals. When Tony and I see you on Padres Live, the postgame show, which will be brought to you by Cox Communications, will break down Jhoulys Chacin's very good night, everything that happens on the field here, and you'll hear from your manager, Andy Green. Don, Mark?
All right, Mike and Tony, thanks very much. Brad Hand in for his 29th appearance of the year with a 1-run lead here in the 8th. Alex Gordon leading it off for Kansas City. What a job tonight by Jhoulys Chacin in 7 innings, allowing 3 hits, 2 runs, walked 2, struck out 6 through 101 pitches. Fly ball, shallow center. Incoming is Caesar, and he will make the catch. Those captioning is brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. 1 out in the 8th inning. Kessler Cuthbert is going to pinch hit here in the pitcher spot. Well, defensively for the Padres, moving from center to left, is Cordoba. Caesar staying in the game, and the pitcher spot is now the leadoff spot where Jose Perella was. There is strike 1.
A little more defense in the ball game, especially with that lead.
27th appearance for Cuthbert of the year. Three runs, 9 hits, no errors. Padres have left 8 men on base. Kansas City 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors. They've only left 2 men on. Padres have had many more opportunities. That includes leaving 2 on in the 7th. Great job by Peter Moylan. Came in and really just shut down the toughest part of the Padres order. Myers, Renfroe, and Hedges. He struck out quickly.
About Ned Yost and pushing the right buttons when it comes down to the bullpen.
On the ground up the middle into center field. Cuthbert with a pinch hit single. With 1 down here in the 8th.
Tomorrow it's a great day for baseball on FS1 and Fox. It all starts with the Royals battling the Padres at 1 p.m. on FS1. Then on Fox, the Orioles take on the Yankees at 4 on your local Fox station, or you can watch it live on FS Go. That's your game tomorrow. You and Eric Karros.
1 o'clock start time. Padres and Royals, game 2 of the series.
Don't forget those Padre jerseys.
That's
giveaway.
Right. The giveaway tomorrow is a big one. 1 down, 1 on, and here is Whit Merrifield, leadoff hitter, 0 for 3. And he takes strike 1. Down and in, and blocked nicely by Hedges. Kept it in front of him. No advance for Cuthbert at first base. Myers holding on Cuthbert with 1 out. And he'll go over there again. Opposition only hitting at 172 against Brad Hand. Swing and a miss on a pitch down and in.
Really good breaking ball from Hand. He trusts Austin back there, and the reason why it has depth on this breaking ball. See it getting on the side of the baseball. Really good slider, and it ends up in the dirt, but Hedges easily gobbles that up.
In the dirt, and this time Hedges blocking it again. 2-2. Merrifield not chasing it this time. In there for strike 3. Merrifield didn't think so, but he takes with him the first strikeout for Brad Hand. 2 down in the 8th.
Now he's frustrated at him, but this is a perfect pitch by Brad Hand. Top left corner of the strike zone.
Well framed too by Hedges. 2 down. Cuthbert at first, and Jorge Bonifacio 0 for 3 in this game. Right fielder for the Royals. Struck out in the first, lined out in the 4th, and grounded out in the 6th.
What makes Brad Hand difficult is he has the velocity of the fastball, but also can spin the breaking ball. Both the slider and the curveball come into play.
Tardy on the fastball at 94.
Just puts a thought in your mind if you're a hitter to sit back and wait on that breaking ball. Then the velocity of the fastball blows by you.
Strike 2. Back to the slider again.
Missed the slider. Wanted it in, but it tracks right on the outside part of the plate, and Hedges again presents that pitch.
Swing and a miss, and Hand is through the 8th inning. Back-to-back strikeouts of Merrifield and Bonifacio. Now Brad Hand doing what Brad Hand does, that's strike people out. 3-2 Padres. San Diego presents Padres Baseball, brought to you by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proud partner of the San Diego Padres. And by Petco, your complete pet store with all the services you need. Last of the 8th inning, 3-2. Padres have the lead. And a new pitcher coming in here to deal with Cordoba, Spangenberg, and Ibar. Former Padre Chris Young coming into the game, the tall right-hander.
Yeah, one of the best teammates around. And you think about Chris Young in his career, he's persevered through a lot of injuries, but also pitches very well out of the bullpen. Still has a home here at San Diego.
He was a starter for the Padres. 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5 years with the Padres. Broke into the big leagues with Texas. Time with the Mets for a couple of years, Seattle, and now in his 3rd year in Kansas City. And he was a part of the world champion Royals in 2015. Alan Cordoba leading it off and taking ball 1. 0 for 3, has struck out twice and grounded out. Down to one knee with that cut.
Well, an add-on run, even a few, would be a good thing here for the Padres.
On the ground up the middle into center field, a base hit for Cordoba. Good start to the bottom of the 8th inning for the Padres. They look to obtain some insurance.
Looked like a slider out of the hands. Actually a cut fastball that Cordoba, excuse me, goes up the middle with. He's playing pepper up the middle of the diamond.
Lead runner on here for the Padres. Corey Spangenberg coming up. Bunt single in the second, single to center in the fourth, struck out in the sixth. And he may have gone after that. He did. First, and back to the bag is Cordoba. Sort of held on over there by Hosmer, who is on his way in to crash here on a bunt bid by Spangenberg. So he is off the bag. Already in on the grass at third is Moustakas. Take the bunt off, and he fouls it off to the left, 0-2.
Yeah, I think he was bunting on his own on that first pitch.
Swing and a miss. And Spangenberg strikes out. That's the first out of the 8th inning.
He gets 2 strikes on him, and he goes to the slider. Just underneath the baseball is Corey Spangenberg.
That is 12 strikeouts for Royals pitching in this game. 1 out in the 8th, and it brings up Eric Ibar.
Now, not a bad guy to hit and run on, and the reason why I say that, it's not velocity with Chris Young. Fastball is max 90 miles an hour, sits right around 88.
Closer this time, but Cordoba back to the bag. Over the outside corner. Runner goes. Ibar swings and misses. Throw down, and out at second is Cordoba. That looked like a hit and run. Ibar tried to make contact on the hit part, could not, and it left Cordoba to be thrown out at second base, caught stealing.
High fastball that Ibar misses on the hit and run attempt. Once you miss, it's almost a pitch out for Salvador Perez, and he guns him down with an accurate throw. Ball almost came out of the glove.
Bounce in, and it's 1-2. Maurer getting ready in the pen right now.
It's going to be interesting to see what Andy Green does in this scenario.
Kane, Hosmer, and Perez schedule. Toughest part of the order. Anybody gets on him, Moustakas will have a chance. Not going to be easy.
No, it's not going to be easy. That's the middle of the order. Andy Green understands that's an important call for him.
Does he come back with Hand to begin the inning, maybe?
Well, I think the presence of Hosmer hitting second.
Payoff pitch. And it is on the ground, diving at third base. Moustakas gets up, throw's going to be close, and it gets away. So reaching at first base will be Ibar, and credit him, he got down the line very quickly. Nice play by Moustakas, but the throw is late and gets by the first baseman Hosmer. It is a single for Ibar. The second hit of the night.
Now watch the diving effort of Moustakas, but Eric Ibar smells that hit, gets down the line and beats that throw.
Now Matt Caesar batting for the second time, hit a home run in the 7th inning, which is the difference in the game. Now it takes a hack for strike one. Franchi Cordero has come out on deck. He would bat in the pitcher's spot if we get that far. There are 2 outs in the inning. Caesar down 0-2. Back-to-back sliders. For Caesar coming up to pinch hit in the 7th in a 2-2 ball game, and breaks the tie to put the Padres on top 3-2. Here's Cordero on deck if necessary. Caesar will send this out to left center field. That gets in for a hit. Ibar headed for third as Kane will get it back in, throwing to second, and it is a double for Matt Caesar. He was thinking double out of the gate and gets to second. The Padres have runners at second and third now with 2 down here in the 8th.
What an effort by Caesar. Getting behind with 2 strikes. That's the cut fastball, and he goes down and gets it. And then as he sees that line drive over the shortstop's head, he keeps on running. Kane over on that right center gap, easily sliding into second base. Watch Caesar. And his teammates love the effort, backing that pinch hit home run with a double.
So Franchi Cordero now batting. Outside 2-0.
Now good discipline from the young left-hander. 2 fastballs outside the zone.
Ibar at third, Caesar at second, 2-0. In the air to center field. Kane going back. That's going to be over his head and one hop the wall. In from third comes Ibar. Here comes Caesar. It's a 2-run double for Franchi Cordero. And the Padres take a 5-2 lead. 2-run double for Cordero and some insurance here in the last of the 8th.
You go, Franchi. Tell you what, 2-0 count, looking for that fastball, and he gets it. This is a really nice bat path with a lot of power. Just had that sound to it. Lucky that ball stayed in the yard.
Now runner at second, Yangervis Solarte. He will take ball 1. Solarte has been on base 3 times, 2 walks.
Well, you got to go back to Caesar with 2 strikes and keeping the inning alive. Think about it, sitting on the bench for 7 innings, coming in and coming up with a huge moment to put him on top. And 2-strike hitting gives Cordero that opportunity for the add-on runs.
Booker is now up in the pen as well. Fly ball, short right field. Merrifield out and coming in. It's going to drop. Around from second base comes Cordero. It'll be an RBI single for Solarte. Merrifield thought Bonifacio had it. He did not. It lands on the turf out there.
Well, the right fielder hasn't looked comfortable at all night long tonight. This is his ball, but you see Merrifield waving that glove around. That's what he saw. You have to take control if you're an outfielder in that situation.
And this is no longer a save situation. Bonifacio out there in right field could not come up with it. Merrifield thought he was going to get it.
Man, does that change the scenario for the top of the ninth?
Here comes Will Myers. On base twice, single and a walk, has struck out twice in the game. To the count here to Myers. And a bounce in to advance at first base for Solarte. Padres have added 3 runs here in the bottom of the 8th inning. On top 6-2. Runner goes, Myers swings and strikes out. But the damage has been done. The Padres score 3 times in the inning. A big 2-run double off the bat of Franchi Cordero has given the Padres a 6-2 lead. To the 9th inning we go. Star of the game, and the Padres needed a starter to go deep into the game. He did. Jhoulys Chacín matching his season high with 7 innings here in this ball game, and they were good quality innings. Ended up striking out 6, allowing only 2 runs on 3 hits. Chance for his 5th win of the year. To the bullpen we go, and Ryan Buchter out there now. On save situation, 26th appearance for the left-hander.
You see the splits, but opponents are only hitting 184 combined against him this season. He's been excellent of late.
Franchi Cordero takes over in center field. This one fouled off to the right, out of play. Lorenzo Cain leading it off 0 for 3 and struck out twice and grounded out to short. Cain, Hosmer, and Perez scheduled to bat 3, 4, and 5 for Kansas City, with the Padres now on top 6-2.
Now, Don, wasn't that nice offensively, the add-on runs, but also all of them with 2 outs. Go back to Ibar after that botched hit and run. 2-strike hitting, hustling down, Caesar, Cordero.
High drive, deep left field, down the line, but it is headed foul. Eric Hosmer waiting on deck. Broken back grounder, foul. That splinters at the plate.
Now, is that fractured?
That is definitely fractured.
Wow. This is getting in the cocina right here. He's not only getting the cocina, but he's getting to the vegetables, the fruit, everything.
So Cain climbs back in the box here, down 1-2. Fights it off, foul. The 95-mile-an-hour fastball from Buchter.
Looks like he's going to the breaking ball. He wants it down.
On the ground towards third base. Spangenberg plays the hop. Throw is going to be low. Myers digs it out, but it is safe at first base for Lorenzo Cain. Beat it out. Apparently got down the line very well. Spangenberg not getting it there in time.
Indecision by Chris Guccione. This is a tough call, as Cain gets down the line. Ooh. We might have to take a look at this one. I think Andy Green's going to.
Padres will challenge.
I think you have to because of the leadoff spot.
Call on the field is safe. Guccione, the umpire at first base.
It looked like he just barely got the front of the bag with that toe. Remember, it doesn't have to go to the back of Wilmeyer's glove.
Is there enough there to overturn it is the question. I'm not so sure.
That's pretty close.
See here if it's going to be overturned. He is safe, so it is not overturned. Padres lose the challenge. So there's a single for Lorenzo Cain to start this 9th inning. confirmed 20.8% of the time, standing 29.8%. And overturned 48.1%, almost half the time.
Wow. Think about how hard it is to call that play.
Runner first to start the 9th inning. Hosmer has been aboard twice in this game, a walk in the 2nd, single in the 5th. We're flying out to the warning track in the 7th inning.
Brandon Maurer is continuing to heat up the Padre bullpen.
After falling behind 2-0, there is Maurer. In there for a strike, and it's 2-1.
Oh, good pitch. Fastball command to that glove side. That dots the corner.
Kane with the infield hit to start the inning. Hosmer now the count at 2-2. Into left field, a base hit for Hosmer. 2nd hit of the night, 3rd time he's been aboard. And the Royals have their first 2 reach here in the 9th inning.
Well, again, the fastball outside, and that's actually off the plate. Perfect pitcher's pitch, but a better swing by Hosmer with 2 strikes.
Andy Green headed to the mound here to make a change as Buchter giving up hits to the first 2 hitters, and he will depart here. Pitching change from Petco Park, 6-2 Padres. Lead here over the Kansas City Royals with nobody out of the 9th inning. Padres and Royals playing here tomorrow. Play day baseball. It'll be in Kennedy, matched up against Miguel Diaz, making his major league debut as a starter tomorrow for the Padres. And tomorrow's game at 1 p.m. on FS1.
See Ian Kennedy, the former Padre, struggling since he's come off the DL, has really not had his stuff.
Well, Brandon Maurer coming in a save situation with a tying run on deck into his 27th game of the year. So 24 pitches yesterday in his outing in Arizona. Liner to center field in for a base hit. Kane is going to be stopped at 3rd as the throw comes back in and is cut off. Throw to 3rd, and Kane is back to the bag safely. Bases loaded, nobody out here for the Royals in the ninth.
It almost looked like he was sitting on this curveball. Salvador Perez, an aggressive approach. And then Mike Jerschley, the third base coach, holds up Kane very late. You see Kane trying to jack on the brakes. He goes down, and Myers almost had an opportunity, him at third.
Bases filled with Royals, nobody out here in the ninth inning. Mike Moustakas, the batter, represents the tying run at the plate right now for the Royals. Who has 15 home runs on the year.
Starts him off with the first pitch changeup.
0 for 7 in his career against Mauer. Fouls it off, and it's a ball and a strike. In the air to center field. Cordero's out there. He will make the catch as Kane tags at third, and he will score. Tagging at second and moving to third is Hosmer. Moustakas retired for the first out, but it is a sacrifice fly. And it's now 6-3 Padres. Mauer in here getting the first out of the ninth inning. We'll look at his last 3 outings.
You see yesterday's outing, not recording an out, but as you said, Don, 24 pitches. He's going to have to grind this save out. That was a big first out right there.
Mercedes Escobar coming up here now for the Royals. 0 for 3. He's grounded back to the mound, lined out to short, and struck out looking. Go, no. They check with Chris Guccione, first base umpire.
Now in this situation, you almost don't have to throw him a strike. Escobar loved to swing the bat. He's probably going to stay away from him.
Ground ball to third. Spangenberg to second for 1. On to first for 2. And the Padres win. 5-4-3 on the twin killing that ends this ball game as the Padres take game 1 of the 3-game series against Kansas City. And Brandon Mauer closes the door on the Royals.
I see Spangenberg, a great feed to Solarte in a big double play. Mauer gets out of it with the save.
Padres win it. Nice night for Jhoulys Chacín, who gets the win. And what's in store, Mike Pomeranz?
Well, you're right. He really is the story of the game, Don. We're coming up on a post-game show. Tony Gwynn and I will discuss what happened with Jhoulys Chacín. And also, you're going to hear from one of the offensive stars, Matt Caesar. We'll see you in moments.